Welcome back. Time for the hot sauce now, and we have our paddles out because we're going to be getting competitive today.
Yes, all week we've been learning about breast cancer awareness and breast cancer facts, so we decided to put our knowledge to the test. We're joined with our expert today, Dr. Jessica Young. Now, we're going to be getting your insight, but you're also going to be quizzing us on myths and facts. So why don't we, before we get to the quiz, why don't we talk a little bit about what you do at Roswell to sort of set the scene?
Okay, well, I'm a breast cancer surgeon at Roswell Park, and I'm also the director of the High Risk Breast Program. And so what that program really is it's a place where women who think they're at high risk can come, and we help them to assess their risk and develop strategies to help them decrease the risk of getting breast cancer.
Well, thank you for being here today. You must have so much knowledge, and we know something we haven't really touched on yet this week is, of course, the big news that Angelina Jolie made earlier this year when she got a preventative double mastectomy when she learned that she had the gene that might make her vulnerable to breast cancer.
And you know, this has been something that a lot of people have had many thoughts on it, so why don't we talk to you about what they're actually saying, you know, in the field, what the experts think of this.
Well, you know, she brought a great amount of attention to it, and I think that's really important. Something to really know, though, is actually that very few people actually have the gene mutation. A lot of people do have a family history of breast cancer, but most breast cancer is actually what we call sporadic, or they don't have any real risk factors or any real family history. But the women who have the gene mutation, such as she does, they're really at a very high risk for breast cancer. So it's great that she brought a lot of attention to it, and I think allowed women to come out and wonder what their risk was, and that's really important.
So are you seeing a lot more women come and see if they test positive for this gene?
Yeah, a lot of women are coming in and saying, you know, we have a family history. Is this something that, you know, we should be tested for? And a lot of women get the testing for it, and it can help them to either know what their risk is or to be reassured that the risk is not as high as they might think.
All right, so I think it's time now, finally, to get to our little game.
Yeah,
Lauren
serious
and I
topic, but we're going to have fun with it
both
today.
have things that say myth and fact. So we're going to get sort of a statement or a question, and it is our job to decide if they're myths or facts. So why don't we get started?
All right, well, the first one is breast cancer is inherited. Is that a myth or is it a fact?
Oh, that's tricky because we just talked about it being sporadic, but there's also family tie. I'm going to say myth.
Myth is correct.
Yay!
So again, most breast cancer is not inherited. It's about 75 to 80% of women have no real risk factors or family history, although we do see you know, about 10 to 15% have a strong family history, and then a very small 5 to 10% of the population has the gene
So just pointing out the
mutation.
difference right there between a family history and an inherited.
Right, there's definitely a difference. Women with a family history are at a higher risk, but they're not as high of a risk as people with the gene mutations.
All right, why don't we go to
question two?
Number two, all right. Number two, wearing underwire bras and certain antiperspirants can cause breast cancer.
I don't know anything about
Matt doesn't know much about underwire bras or women's
But
antiperspirant.
I know that for men, a lot of people say that deodorant can cause cancer, so I'm going to say fact.
Actually, this is also a myth.
I'm going to say myth.
Good choice. There's no real conclusive evidence that either of these things lead to the development of breast cancer. Sometimes women will say that they feel a lump and they think it's because the bra was rubbing on it or the whatnot, but it really, it's not the bra that's causing it, it just brought their attention to it.
All right, let's go to three.
All right. Well, number three, mammograms do not prevent breast cancer.
Okay, this I find a confusing statement.
Well, I don't think they prevent it, but I think that it's a preventative measure, so I'm going to pick fact.
Well, it is a fact. So mammograms do not prevent breast cancer, but what they really do is that they
detect it.
They help you to detect it at an early stage, and it's wonderful because breast cancer is one of those cancers that when you catch it at an early stage, is very curable and treatable.
All right, so why don't we move on to the very
I
last question.
still have problems with the way that one was worded. But all right, last question.
Last question.
Last question, myth or fact, certain vitamins and supplements prevent breast cancer.
Well, I think with supplements, I think there's always supplements don't prevent something; they just help it
guard
out. So I'm
against
going to
it.
say myth.
It is a myth. So there's a lot of trials and things, research going on, looking at different vitamins and supplements, but we don't have any so far that have been proven to help decrease your risk of breast cancer.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jessica, for coming in.
This was fun and informative.
Now, just real quick, for people that are interested in getting more information, how can they contact Roswell?
Absolutely. That's a great question. They can just call 1-877-ASK-RPCI, and someone will be able to help them decide whether they're eligible to come into our high-risk program, and we'd be very happy to see them there.
All right, excellent. Also very active on social media, Roswell Park is. So you
Yes.
can always tweet them and Facebook them anytime, I believe,
Yes,
too.
absolutely.
Someone else who's always tweeting and Facebooking is Emily Lenahan, our web producer. It's time now for our second .com check.